Hello knitters, this is Benjamin Krudwig from Benjamin Krudwig Fiber Arts and Design, and this is episode number 11 of the Fibercast. It's a knitting and crochet and spinning and weaving podcast. It's really just a fiber podcast, so welcome to all of you. If you are new or returning to this podcast, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy this episode. It's going to be another short episode. I just got back from Interweave Yarn Fest this weekend, so I will talk more about that in just a second. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Benjamin Krudwig, and you can find me on Facebook as Benjamin Krudwig Fiber Arts and Designs. And if you want to find me on Tumblr and my website, again, just search for Benjamin Krudwig and you should find it all. So, yes, let's just get started with the podcast. It's all fibery today. I apologize for the state of my voice. I just basically was speaking to a bunch of people for 3 days straight. So this was the first annual fiber fair, or I guess you want to call it Interweave Yarn Fest, in Loveland this week. So it was put on by Interweave Press, which is a publication, a publishing place for magazines of all things relating to fiber and crafts. Most of you probably know of Interweave Press. So I represented Shacked Spindle Company, that's the place that I work for, and my coworker Denise was there as well. So we were manning the booth Thursday and Friday, and then my boss and her daughter came up on Saturday to help, which was a big help because Saturday was insanely busy. We demonstrated all of our products, so it was, all of our spinning wheels and all of most of our weaving looms. And it was really a delightful place. There were 52 vendors there, from anywhere from yarn shops, fiber people for spinning fibers, and manufacturers of equipment like us. And it was just a really great time. So I have a lot of stuff from there to show you, and that'll be in my stash enhancement area. So as far as knitting goes, actually knitting or crochet goes, I didn't do much this week. I thought I was going to. I said, I'm going to bring all these projects to the hotel that I was staying at, and I didn't get anything done really. So I worked on one project and one project only. I don't have any finished objects today, so bummer on that one. And other than that, I guess because it was a long week, I'm taking after Kemper from Junk Yarn. I have a glass of red wine with me today. So, welcome to the Fibercast, and let's get in to what's on my needles. It dropped on the floor. Yarn down! Project down! Okay, back. All right, so I was able... before the last podcast, I was able to cast on a new project by Dan Jones from the Bakery Bears podcast, and you can find it under K Jones on Ravelry. I am knitting the handbrake cowl. Woo, stay on the needles. And this is as far as I've gotten. You can start to see, I think it's about 2.5, maybe just 2 repeats that I've done already. And you can really see those purl bumps a little bit. I'm using both a variegated yarn and a hand spun yarn, so it's kind of gnarly. It's different sizes all throughout, but this is my hand spun. This is merino wool. It was a brown base, and it's about a fingering weight. There are sections of it that are definitely lace weight, and sections that are probably light worsted. But it's so much fun. This was from Spunky Eclectic Fibers, Fiber of the Month Club, in the colorway Black Pearl. And I am loving how it's knitting up. You can really see the texture. I don't know if it'll focus, but the texture of this yarn, complete with the texture of the stitches, is just totally rocking my socks right now. So I'm going to be knitting this up right now, between now and whenever I finish it. I'd love to finish it before next podcast, which, as quick as it's knitting, I think I can totally do it. K Jones. Oh, let me go back. So the handbrake cowl, if you guys haven't watched my previous episode, it is a pattern that Dan Jones and Kay Jones put out on April 4th. And all of the proceeds of this pattern sale go to cancer research. So if you could please go support them and just purchase pattern. It's £1 which was about $1.50 something US dollars. And it's totally worth it. And it's a great pattern. I think you get instructions for both the handbrake cowl and the handbrake scarf. And you get a unique link to their handbrake special. So I'm going to watch that. I'm still so behind on all of my podcasts. So after I'm done podcasting, I'm going to watch more podcasts as I knit. Yeah, this knitting for pleasure is nice. I had so many projects going on for weeks and weeks and weeks. So now I am deciding that between now and my next trade show that I go to, I am knitting for pleasure. So that's something that I don't normally do. I like to work on projects for companies, and so now I'm just going to do stuff for myself between now and then, which is the end of May. So I have about a month and a half of just pleasure knitting, pleasure crafting, really. So I'm going to do quite a bit of stuff. And next on my list is the Messalina shawl by Kay Jones. And I think I have, let's see, my yarn under here. I think this will work. It might be a little light. I'm going to check the pattern again, but I bought the pattern this morning. This is Haiku by Anzula Luxury Fibers in the color Charcoal. So I'm either going to do it in this one, and I'm going to do the garter stitch variation, or I'm going to do it in Olivia, which is more of an olive green. And then I also have Kale. This one might be too muddy for me. I'm thinking the green or the gray, like the brighter green or the gray. Pretty sure that's what I'm going to do. I don't want to go too dark. I do have this black, and it would be really pretty, but I don't know if I want a black shawl right now. So, oops. God, I'm throwing things all over the place, and I'm unplugging my laptop. Oh my gosh. I'm a little bit of a mess from this week. So other things that I did while I was at the trade show, or the Yarn Fest, I did quite a bit of spinning, because when your company sells spinning wheels and manufactures them, you demonstrate spinning wheels. And before I show you the yarn, I've spoken about this company before. It's Jefferson Farms Natural Fibers, and they raise Paco Vicuñas and a Surrey Paco Vicuña cross. They are the cutest little animals, so you should totally Google pictures of Paco Vicuñas, or you can go to jeffersonfarmsnaturalfibers.net and go to their website and see the actual animals that the fiber comes from. And she had a booth there. So I saw her at the National Western Stock Show in February, and she had a booth across from the booth from Shack Spindle Company selling her fiber. And she basically gave me some fiber and said, you should spin this, and then we'll split, a sample skein of it. So I spun the skein, and then for my efforts, she gave me some fiber in return. So this is 1.4 ounces of a Paco Vicuña Surrey cross. It is so light. It is super, super light. It is 13.5 microns. So a human hair is about 60 microns in thickness. And when you look at like a mohair, no, not a mohair, a cashmere, you're looking at about 19 to 16 microns. And let's see, I think merino wool, you're looking at around 22 microns. So imagine about 2/3 of that, 13.5 microns. This feels like oil between your fingers. It's so soft. It doesn't feel like hair at all. So I'm so excited to spin this up because here's the yarn I spun. This is not yet washed, so I need to do that after podcasting, perhaps. This is a 3-ply fiber. Okay. You can't even see. Oh my gosh. So it's really, really thin. This is definitely a lace weight fiber. And I got 128 yards out of 1.4 ounces. So if you triple that, because it is a 3-ply, you're looking at about 370 some odd yards of a single from 1.4 ounces. And I can tell you right now that that's the finest I've spun. I spun this on the Shacked Reefs, which is the Saxony style wheel from Shack Spindle Company. And it just wanted to spin fine. This fiber didn't want to spin thick. Not to mention, it would be a total sin. It would be a fiber sin to spin Paco Vicuña thick. This is the natural color of the animal. So it's kind of this camel taupe color. And I'm so excited to wash this up. She says that it gets really, really golden. There's always a little bit of dirt that gets in there when you process fiber. And so when people spin, they should definitely wash their yarn afterwards. A lot of people don't, but those mills are dirty, and they don't wash the sliver or the roving after. So it's just kind of dirty when you spin it. So that's something that I spun this weekend. Another thing that I spun this week, I can't tell you much about it, but it is for my spin-off article that is going to be in the fall issue of Spin-Off. So I have 4 samples. 3 of them are still in skeins. 1 of them I've already nib up. So these are all skeins of yarn. This is a merino tencel blend 50/50. And then these 2 are Shetland blended with other fibers. So I don't want to get into the actual process. And then this is the pattern that you will see in the magazine. So you'll have to get the magazine to know what the technique is and the pattern that will be available with the technique. But I am super, super duper excited for that. I got to meet the editor of Spin-Off this weekend, and that was a delight. It's fun to put names to faces, faces to names. There we go. So faces to names, and also I've been emailing back and forth with some of the people that I met at the conference. So that's one of those things where it's nice to meet people in person who I've met online, and it's too fun. I actually met a couple of people who follow me on Instagram, so that was pretty cool to say hello to them. I have other show and tell, some stash acquisitions, if you will, stash enhancement, and they fell on the ground too. Yeah. Okay. Woo. Here we go. So I didn't get very many breaks while I was at this show. You know, there were only 2 of us. But on one of my breaks on Saturday, there was a point where I walked through the event hall and I looked over on this table and saw this stunning fiber. I was very good Thursday and Friday. I didn't buy anything on Thursday and Friday, but Saturdays when I broke down and just said, screw it, it's the last day of the event, I need to buy something. So I did. Oh, I did. The first one is 100% Tencel in a bright gold or bright yellow color. 6 ounces worth. Yeah, and that's very true to the color. So I bought that. Next to that, there was this merino silk blend, and I believe it's 50-50. Let's see. Back here, there we go. Back here is more true to color. This green, oh, I love it. I really want to start spinning it now. This is 8 ounces, and the prices were so good, and I just needed it. I absolutely had to have this. So I think I'm going to spin this as is, but I'm probably going to blend this with something else. Oh my gosh, that glare. Okay, there we go. I'm going to blend this with something else, and I don't know what yet, because Tencel is really beautiful when it's blended. It's really shiny. It's about as shiny as silk, in my opinion. Maybe a little bit less so. And you can spin that really fine. But I wonder, because it's a plant-based fiber, it doesn't have a lot of give. So I'm really wanting to blend it with some wool or some alpaca maybe, to just give a little bit extra oomph. I have some white merino. Ooh, I might have about 4 ounces of white merino that would look really creamy with that Tencel. I didn't stop there. Sorry for the crinkling. Okay. I'm gonna have to open this because the glare here in the studio. I bought some beautifully dyed green Bombix silk. And this is hand dyed by some people I know from Eugene, Oregon. But just look at that color. It's just some beautiful tonal color. And I can't wait to spin this up. I think I might spin this by itself. This is the first time I opened it, and it's so soft. I like to smell my fiber. Sometimes it smells really good. I'm a little bit of a weirdo, I know. But I just am so excited to spin this up. This will be my first time spinning straight silk from top. This is Bombix Silk Top. I tried spinning some silk from Kamaj Fiber Arts, and it was just kind of like the ends of silk. And it was just too lumpy for me, so that one I think I'm going to have to blend, because it just doesn't want to spin very easily. All the staple lengths are different, and so that makes it very hard to spin. So I'm just winding these into some balls. It looks like they're actually equal. I'll have to weigh these, because if these are equal, I might just spin them and then 2-ply it. I'm going to get some lace weight out of that. I know on my Shack Reeves, I can spin really fine. So those are my new fiber acquisitions. And pretty much all that I worked on, too. But I also got a new product from a lady that I met at this place. She's from California. And it is from Dirty Mama Soap. Let's see. There we go. Dirty Mama Soap. It's a lavender combing, carding, and spinning milk. This is only to work with wool. It's to help. So if you're a spinner, you know that if you card your own fiber, and you live in a very dry climate, the fiber wants to kind of splay out, and it's just static electricity. It's what happens. So this soap, you're supposed to spritz it around when you are like on your fiber, but not to saturate it because you don't want to felt your fiber. But it's supposed to keep that static down and keep it moist. So I'm going to actually try that out because, Colorado is pretty dry. It's just the nature of living here. So if you want to take a look at this, I will review this on my podcast after I use it. I don't spin a lot of wool, so I might have to do that and then let you know how it feels. So her website is dirtymamassoap.com, and you can find her down there. I really liked that. So I like the smell of it, at least. I haven't tried it. It's all natural ingredients. It's hemp oil, lavender, distilled water, some alcohol, for it dries a little quicker, and then some lavender essential oil. So it just smells delicious. Gosh, so it's supposed to really help. So we'll see. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of blather here. Oh. The fiber, the tencel and the merino silk came from spinning straw into gold, which you can find them at spinningstrawintogold.com. And that's their card. So it's a mother-daughter team, or it's the mother and then the daughter helps at conventions. So check them out too. So blather now. If you don't want to be here, you don't have to. I am going to be going to TNNA at the end of May, which is the National Needle Art... I don't do outtakes still, even though I'm not live anymore. The National Needle Arts Association, and I'll be representing Shack Spindle Company there as well. So if any of you who watch go to that because you're a shop or something, I'd love to say hi to you. So I'd love to catch up with you at some point. But again, I'm not going to worry about getting projects done before now and then, or between now and then. It's just, I don't know. There's a lot coming up anyway. I'm doing the photo shoot for the spin-off article the weekend before I leave for TNNA. So I want to focus on myself and staying healthy. I already feel really worn out. And that was just 3 days of a convention plus 1 day of setup. And I'm just a little tired. So I am going to do some personal knitting. I am going to knit my first pair of socks. I'm going to cast on, I think I need some needles. I don't have very many fine needles, and the carbons that I own, I think the largest, or the smallest size I have are 2.75 or 2. If they're 2.5, I can manage it, but I think one of the ferrules isn't working, which is a bummer. But I'd like to cast on a pair of socks and see how it is. And because of Kay Jones of their Bakery Bears podcast, I am going to try a heel flap on my first pair of socks because that is how they were intended to be made back in the day. And I've heard all these other, the Fish Lips Kiss heel sock, the Afterthought heel, but those all sound a little daunting for a first pair of socks. It's I'm a pretty proficient knitter, but I prefer shawls and hats and cowls. But I think I need a pair of socks now. So I think I might do that. If I have the needles, I might do it right after I finish recording here. So I'm going to do that. So hopefully in the next couple of podcasts, you'll see that. I will be doing a live virtual knit night at some point. I don't know when yet, because I want to do it around the same time every month. So I'll figure it out. It'll probably be on a Saturday, probably around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Mountain Time, Colorado Mountain Time. So we'll see. Maybe 2 or 3 o'clock. I don't know. We'll find out. I'll let you all know. So I hope you all enjoyed this episode of the podcast. And, they might actually be about this length from now on because I'm not getting distracted. There was no question this week, so I didn't answer it. But they might be about the half an hour to an hour mark, depending on how much I have to say or show. So it might be more in the next couple of weeks because I don't have much to do. I'm so excited. I am going to relax, get some more of the stuff in the house taken care of, set up the sound system downstairs, get a new garage door opener, all of the good things that come with owning a house. So I love you all. I will put a little crawler on the end of what podcasts I have watched this week, which were very few. And I will talk to you all later. My voice is already saying goodbye. So, bye. Thanks for watching.